Hoop Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority are all Houston people. So that's
shout out to Hoop Jargon.
Man, I'm here with my man with Hoop Jargon, the best in the game, man. And you know I only let selected few in my circle. And this is the real dude right here. We gonna get down with the get down.
What's going on? Straight No Chaser Cowboys podcast coming back for week 7 with your boys.
Back again.
Cliff, Darren, and Richard Walker. Man, we got a special guest. We got actually have a couple special guests, but we're gonna roll it out slow, man. Gentlemen, how you feeling?
We told y'all, man. The death of Cooper Mania. It's over. It's been a fun ride. Good job.
Bring back 4.
Yes,
Bring back 4.
Feeling good, man. Like we said, the mania is done. Look, the relief pitcher went as many innings as he could go. Mm-hmm. He got shelled in the bottom of the 6th, and now we got to
pull him out.
Yeah, got to go back to Verlander, man. Got to go back to the start.
Got to go back to Verlander.
Yeah.
Dang. So you tell me the 5th rotation guy can't go 9 innings?
No.
Is that what you telling me?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. Got to go back to that. Got to go back to Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander. You know what I'm saying? What's my man with the Dodgers for Dallas? What's the big left hand? Kershaw. Yeah, we got to go that way. Yeah, we got to go to start it, man. We got to go to ace.
Yep.
There you go. All right, so and guys, as we know, we're going to week 7. We're gonna face the Detroit Lions. What up, though, to the Lion fans out there? And we got our first special guest is gonna be our guy, JC Kimmy. He's gonna come up here. Very knowledgeable brother. How you doing, my man?
Hey man, I'm doing fantastic, man. Not too used to these early games. You know, the boys are usually 3 p.m. or in the evening or Monday. You know, you get a chance to get a little bit of brown liquor in you that way.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Yeah, there you go, man. It's like
liqueur.
The games come quick, man, when they're at noon.
Yeah.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you, man. Hey, you have to tell everybody who you are and tell them your story, man.
Well, the old can I tell you who I am angle, right? Like, I'm kind of a big deal to me in this house anyway. Right? Well, I happened upon Mr. Walker, my H-Town brother there, and a minor league football compatriot. Probably, I would say, Richard, it was about 8 years or so ago.
Right, about 8, 9, 10 years, something like
somewhere in there. And our ties to local semi-pro minor league football, if you will, kind of brought us together. And so I've bumped around in football. Again, I'm basically a ham and egger. Played a little bit of semi-pro. Had a run at D3 coaching. It's been 4 years now. Didn't turn the losing program around, but didn't win enough games. Did not win enough games. It was RPA college here locally in Dallas, and it was a great experience. I at least got to say that I shot my shot, so to speak. But really, man, I'm a football nerd, sports nerd in general. Just absolutely love it and live it. And so, a show like this and a chance to talk about it is just an absolute thrill for me. I live in the Dallas area. I'm originally from Houston. And so, the Texas sports scene pretty much just dominates my life. Like you guys were talking about Verlander earlier, I'm peeking in on the Astros. We got the Mavericks, jumped off last night, got a big win. Cowboys today. I mean, it's really, truly the best time of the year.
He's being modest. Because you took over a program that was 0-38 and won 5 games. I mean, that to me, that's not something to just glance at, man.
Well, and but they always say that you
took over the Detroit Lions twice.
Yeah,
the over 16 line, you won 5 games. I'm just saying, man. Don't take that lightly. Don't take that's a hell of an accomplishment, man. Because it speaks to the level of competition and the disparity with the talent. And for you to win anything with a program like that, especially 5 games after them going 0-38, that's a testament to your capabilities and your knowledge of the game. So, as we keep saying, we don't talk football with people that don't know football. That's why I reached out to you specifically, because I definitely wanted to get you in here so you can talk about this, man. So
I love it.
we're glad to have you.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Well, when the program is 0-36 in 3 seasons, the best thing about that is no job is safe. So you really have a chance to kind of say, hey, none of you guys get too comfortable. Okay, because you're looking for changes and pretty much every area, and we all know that football is about the players. It really is. As a coach, the first thing you need to realize if you're going to be any kind of success at being a coach, that it's not about you. It is not about you. Like I can remember talking to my son. I was coaching a team and got him off to a good start, and they were 0-10 the previous year. And then we lost the game, and I go on these radio shows, and I give the players all the credit when we win. And then when we lose, I put it on me. So my son's 9 at the time. He says, so, Pop, when you're a coach and you win, it's because of the players. And when you lose, it's because of the coach. I said, yeah. I said, pretty much. He said, geez, Dad, coaching sucks.
It does. I mean,
it's great to just imagine being able to, earn a quasi living doing something that you're going to be doing anyway. You're going to be pouring into football, looking at players, seeing how guys translate to the next level, man. I mean, I do that anyway. So to have a chance to make a run at it, man, I was truly blessed. Wish it would have lasted longer, but man, wouldn't trade the experience for anything in the world.
There's a video resume, and we're going to send it up to Jerry, because hopefully after this year, we won't have to deal with Mike McCarthy's ass anymore. So I'm just saying,
hopefully.
Don't be surprised if I call you one day and say, hey, man, can you run over to Fresno real quick? There's a job opening.
Yeah.
We don't like Mike McCarthy.
I tried to flip my little success into another job.
Yeah.
You see all these one-offs and stuff, right? These coaches that will get somewhere and then boom.
Yeah.
They're there 1 year and they try to flip it and parlay it into a better job. And, I got caught up in this drive-through society that we live in, gentlemen. Everything has to happen so fast.
Yep.
And but yeah, man, what a great experience.
We're glad you're with us today.
Absolutely. Coach. Go ahead. You had something there?
No, I'm just saying, no doubt, man. I'm glad that JC's joined us, man, so we can talk football with some real heads. I love it.
There you go. And so before we get to week 7, let's talk a little bit about week 6, man. Takeaways from that Eagle loss, man. And Rich, I'll let you run with the baton first, man. What you got, man, about our loss?
My biggest concern was the pressure that they were going to bring to Cooper Rush that he never saw before, and we were right on the money. We all talked about the fact that we would need to put up points to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, and we needed some type of offensive output from Cooper Rush, and it just wasn't there. There was a little spurt, towards the middle of the third quarter. They got within 2017, but it was just too much. That defense was overwhelmed. One of the things that I saw that does concern me, and as a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and go to the film now.
Okay.
One of the things I saw that's a little concerning is the fact that we still have issues.
You want me to put the volume on?
Okay. No.
Do you want the volume or no?
No volume.
All right, cool. Go ahead.
Okay. So one of the things that I saw that was a concern was that we still seem to struggle with getting off the field on third down. You see right here, 3rd and short. He goes with the scramble right there. Somebody has – if you got a mobile quarterback, you keep a spy on him. And here you're going to see another play right here. We go right here. There's a draw and first down. We can't just fill those gaps and stop the run in critical down and distance situations. Also, short pass game right here. You see that quick outlet right there. Boom. Another first down. They dinked and ducked and picked our defense apart in the short passing game also. So this is a concern moving forward. We're not going to always get pressure on the quarterback. That Eagles offensive line did a pretty pretty decent job. You know, they did get some pressure on Hurts, but not enough to disrupt him. And we can't rely on that. You know, defense is a combination of pressure and coverage. You got to do both things well, and of course, you got to tackle. And so I get a defense today. This is the lowest grade I'm gonna give them. I give them a D for their performance last week, because overall, you know, they didn't let the Eagles light the scoreboard up, but it was the down and distance situations that killed us. It was those critical things, and then of course the penalties were, you know, reared their ugly head again too. So the combination of those things, in addition to having an inept quarterback who kept making dumbass decisions and throwing in the coverage, and he became an interception machine. That was a recipe for disaster. And had we played against a more stout offensive team, it would have been a blowout.
And we said that for quite some time now. We was like, man, we're having the benefit of a very stout defense that's doing the heavy lifting.
Right.
Could go in and make a play or two. Now, to his credit, he's made some plays while we were behind that normally games we would give up, and I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
But God damn it, man, that's a lot of latitude when the defense does so much heavy lifting for you. Joe Flacco, anybody, right? So now Joe had a bigger arm. We all know that, but Joe, he still had a lot of latitude to mess up, as it were. Him being a proverbial gunslinger, but still had to manage. You kind of know where I'm going with that. But with that being said, Coop had to actually, you know, be a competent quarterback that could lead guys, and it didn't happen. We saw that happen, and it's unfortunate. And as we go forward, hold on, the show just began now. Many of them popped up.
Yes, indeed.
Shout out to Minnie. Shout out to Minnie.
My favorites.
So that's why I got my forum, and I'm ready for a real quarterback to come back. And not to say Coop did a bad job. It's just that you see what a real quarterback responsibility is when the defense isn't playing so great. And, you know, in unfortunate fashion, we lost the Eagles. You know, we love that, huh? Psych. So I'm looking forward to us going forward with all that we know that our offense can be, with a guy who can actually will us to victories, as it were, when the defense is not up to snuff.
Right.
Are you guys at all concerned about Coach McCarthy and some of the little things in terms of preparation? Okay, and this dates back to when he started. You have a team leaving their offense on the field with 4th and less than 5. Okay? As a coach, are you not screaming to the entire defense, hold your water? Right. For the love of God, the one thing that they want us to do, their whole goal of doing this was to get us to jump. Don't worry about getting a jump. Whatever you do, stay on side. Yeah. And there's these little things in terms of preparation, clock management, decisions that are made that I'm just like, come on, man, you're grinding on this 80 to 100 hours a week. The thing about football is preparing for things that you could prepare for during preparation and not waiting till you get to the game to figure it out. There is just absolutely no excuse for jumping off sides. Now, just real quick, and I definitely want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Last year, they're playing the Cardinals, and Coach Bro gamed McCarthy out of a timeout by leaving his offense on the field, and they were going to kick an extra point. McCarthy freaks out and calls a timeout. Of course, they end up kicking anyway. Later in the game, 2 minutes and 6 seconds left to go. Arizona fumbles. It's not called a fumble. They're out of timeouts and cannot challenge. Ball game.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. This is what we've been talking about for the longest. This is why we've been beating the hell out of Mike McCarthy for the longest, because you heard it from someone who has been there under a headset before. It is the clock management, it's the game management, the lack of preparation, the lack of focus and defense, discipline in this organization, and it starts at the top. That's why we call Mike McCarthy Fat Jason Garrett, because he does the same type of stuff that Jason Garrett used to do. He's got a fat version of the same guy.
That's always been his problem, though.
It's always been his problem. This is why this man had access to one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, only won a Super Bowl. And that was basically all Aaron Rodgers.
Pretty much. I like Tommy.
I mean, we've been screaming this for the longest. We want Mike McCarthy gone.
I like Tommy's comment about there's a lot to learn from this. Just have to stay disciplined. That kind of goes into what my takeaways were from the game. what I saw from Coop, I expected. I expect him to be overwhelmed by a good Eagles defensive front and a good plan. And he looked like a deer in headlights, through the first part of the game. Some of those throws were just complete panic throws, like the first one, the tip ball. I think he was going to Gallup, and the chance of that pass being completed at all, the decision to throw that ball was just straight panic, right? That they was begging for it to be picked, and it was. One of the takeaways that I did have, though, from a glass half full standpoint, was, that game looked like 38-3 early. It really did. I mean, the way Coop and that team settled themselves to make it a game. And I think it was great that Rich shows that drive. I think that was the drive that killed everything. Dallas clearly had taken momentum in that game. It was the 2017. They had Philly on their heels. They got a couple of critical stops. But to Rich's point, as illustrated in that film, they couldn't get the stop. There were at least, 3 or 4 third down situations where you're sitting there as a Cowboy fan like, man, come on, bro. If we can get off the field here, they got him. They got him. And they never got that stop. And Philly answered at the 2017 drive, answered. And, Dallas never really, managed to the huge threat after that. I was encouraged that they had the gumption just the fortitude to fight and make it the game that they did. I'm gonna take slight issue with my man's grade of a D on the defense, because Rich, I actually thought the defense kept this being a 40-point game for them, because Dallas's coach didn't give them do them any favors with the lack of game management, to JC's point, with the field position deal. You go for it, your team is reeling, and you go for it on a short field.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, and somehow, Dallas' defense bowled up, and kept them out of the end zone and only managed to kick a field goal. And I was like, but it's that type of stuff that we've seen far too much of for having, 25, 22, 23, 24 games. And with this McCarthy thing, his game management or lack thereof scares the living shit out of me. Because he's one of those guys. JC brought up that point in the Arizona game. He freaks, and he makes those decisions that can cost teams games. So I was encouraged by something. We all predicted the L. I damn near predicted the score. I didn't see them really scoring beyond 20 points. I think my score prediction was 28-20, and it was like damn near right there. But I didn't see a Cooper Rush-led team against that defense. Like to your point, Rich, needing to score points and needing to put points on the board to give themselves a shot. I just didn't see it happening. And to Cliff's point, you could see that limitation. You could see why Cooper Rush can now be considered and should be a serviceable, very carefully with that word, a serviceable backup. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing's wrong with
that. Manage that expectation that that's what he is. There's no mania that should ever be attached to that man's name. There's no mania, man. Right? Yeah, mania tends to lead to bigger things, right? Yeah. That ain't what's happening with Cooper Rush. But there's value in having a serviceable backup. That's been an issue for Dallas for about 3 years, and that's fine. Now it's time for QB1 to get back out there and look like the $40 million man, much like he did games 1 through 7 or 8 last year before he tweaked himself and wasn't quite himself the rest of the year. But we need Dak Prescott to get back to game 1 through 7, Dak Prescott, for this season to be what it can be, particularly when you got a complimentary defense like that. That was my takeaway.
Cooper Rush reminds me of who's the quarterback they had for the Texans, man? They went through like 3 quarterbacks that year when I think Schaub went down.
Didn't they lose a couple of guys that year?
Yeah, they
got to like their third guy, the kid from North Carolina.
What's his name? I can't think his name.
Yates.
TJ Yates.
TJ Yates. Freaking Yates.
There you go.
That's what that reminds me of.
Right.
Because at one
Man,
point,
he won their first playoff game.
Yeah.
He won their
so
first playoff
There you
game.
go.
if we remember
They
things
didn't
in
crown his
context,
ass, you know.
yeah. Dude, if we remember things in context, people were saying TJ Yates was going to be that next guy.
Yeah.
And all I would kept saying is, I'm from Houston. I hate the Texans. I was like, hell no. What are y'all looking at? No. He's managing well with a good defense.
Right.
Got some good receivers to work with. And, dude, no, it's not sustainable. And, goddamn, that shit aged like fine wine. So that's what Cooper Rush was like so reminiscent of in my eyes. And so that's why I was never on board. I'm like, I'm glad he's doing well for us. Don't get it twisted. But as far as sustainability, absolutely not.
No.
And I just hope in the offseason that they don't overreact and overpay him. He needs to continue to get a backup quarterback.
Be the backup, man.
Be a backup, bro.
But great quarterbacks are like centers,
okay,
man.
Fine, go get another one.
They're like centers in basketball. If you're good, you're going to be found.
Right.
You're not going to have a guy that you put on the waiver wire, man. Oh, yeah, man, by the way, this guy's a franchise quarterback. No, that's not. Too many people are looking for him. And he did do a serviceable job. But again, I think that what you were saying earlier in regards to knowing the system, like we rotate these backup quarterbacks like relief pitchers in baseball. They go from team to team. I mean, I think Chase Daniels is still somewhere making $7 million. Right?
There's a whole group of them like that just kind of.
I'm wondering if philosophically, could you say, well, let's keep a guy that's a little bit less regarded and just keep him in our system. And if we have some continuity in the system, that instead of going out and getting a backup, right? You have a guy in your system and you just keep him in the system. And of course, there's so much change in terms of coaching and so forth. But if you have a system that's fairly consistent, right? You have a guy in that system, maybe he could do the things that Cooper Rush did just based on his knowledge of the system and practicing with these cats. And I know the backup, it's still work and practice, but being around the system.
Will Greer. Those two guys, that's what they are. They're two guys that's going to be parked in the Cowboys system somewhere in case they need them. They'll be practice squad or free agents and like, hey, we'll call you if we need you because they know damn well nobody else is going to invest in them. They're just spare parts just laying around. Like that extra pair of batteries that you have in a junk drawer somewhere. Like the remote batteries don't work. Damn, the game is on. Oh, that's right. I got that battery that may still work that'll get me through the game. And you put that battery in there and you watch the game and you know damn well the batteries aren't going to last long. So the next time you go to the store, you get off the ass and you get some new batteries. You take that battery, you put it back in the junk drawer where it was in case you need it again. That's those two guys.
Man, the thing that I love the point about not overpaying him, Rich, and because there's backups like we say with in pop culture now. There's levels to everything. Yeah. And even on the backup quarterback situation, like you'll have the backup who was once a really solid starter, i.e., Andy Dalton. Okay, you pay Andy Dalton different than you pay Cooper Rush, right? Because Andy Dalton has proven himself in this league as a multi-year starter, had a reasonable amount of success as an NFL starter. So you pay that guy different. Man, I was hoping like hell they could get another year out of Andy Dalton. I knew that they wouldn't, but he was that guy. But Cooper Rush, they're paying him. I think he signed a 1.9. So he's making around $995,000. That's Cooper Rush money. That money needs to stay.
Don't pay him $2-3 million. Don't pay him
right there.
Right.
And one thing I wanted to segue on the takeaway part as we move and look forward to QB1 coming back. One of the takeaways, and we talked about this on the show throughout the week, I really like the ground game. What we saw last week, and sticking with that when QB1 comes to play today. Man, I've said this for a few weeks now, and no, he's not the premier back year 1 through 4, but I really like the way Ezekiel Elliott has run the football this year. And man, Zeke was running extremely hard last week. I mean, like he's finishing runs and all those grimy stuff, man. That just makes Zeke. And I love how, like we talked about last week, how accepting he is of being that power back that can move chain and fight for those extra 2 or 3 yards. But they need to. I'm really, really curious as we go into today's matchup. How the Beeve, by the way, JC, we call offensive coordinator Kellen Moore the Beaver because he reminds us of leaving the Beaver. Call him the Beeve. There we go, right there. So, if I'm really curious to see if the Beeve will stick with the ground and pound game, man, because I think that's the formula for ultimate success for this 22 version of the Cowboys, man. Like we talked about, if we just go back to some semblance of what the 16 Cowboys were when Dak started, which was heavy ground game, play action off of that, and this is a much better defense, I think there's real opportunity for success there. And we know Dak's a better quarterback than he was then, but there's real opportunity for success because they got two guys that can get it done. That line that Rich so beautifully illustrated last week is getting it done up front in that run game and let that defense do what it does. And I think they can go in a nice second half run if QB1 stays healthy.
The having a decent run game stops you from getting murdered in TOP too.
Yes.
You know, that's if you're throwing it all over the place, man. You leave your defense out there for a long time.
Yep.
People have to understand, in football, everything affects everything. People say, well, so-and-so ran for 100 yards, but he got, one of them was a 60-yard run. If you take that away, no, you can't take that away. Everything affects everything.
Absolutely.
Offense, defense, special teams. For instance, you're down 14-0 against the Eagles, and I don't mean to go back, but you're down 14-0 against the Eagles. Lamb appears to get the first down. They rush to try to catch him sleeping. And go for it on 4th and 1 at your own 35. Look, man, understand the game flow.
Right.
Cool out, relax. Somebody up in the booth should have told you, oh, my God, challenge that.
Right.
Chill out, wait.
It was a first down.
Yes, challenge it. And if you don't get it, you are thereby, if the challenge isn't, if the play isn't overturned, you are saved from yourself and punt the football.
Right.
You have been saved from yourself and then just relax, man. They got momentum. Chill out. But if you challenge and you get it, hey, let's be deliberate. Let's keep the ball, man. Let's take some of the wind out of these guys' sails. And like you alluded to with the run game, let's beat them up. Let's hit them with a few body shots, man. Let's keep the ball. Let's get them over, get their offense over on the sideline and work our way back into this thing, man. These NFL games come down to the fourth quarter almost every time. Imagine if the top 32, the true top 32 college teams in America only played each other. Just the true top 32. You'd have a lot less undefeated teams. And these teams in the NFL, as I like to say, in the NFL, it's no ho-s allowed. Okay? If you F around against these NFL teams, they'll beat you. Any of them will. They will straight up beat you. And you just got to understand game flow. I'll say this. Play the game that's on the field. It could be a shootout. It could be a tight ball game. Play the game that's on the field. That's the beautiful thing about football. Every game has its own life, and it's its own little entity all by itself. It could be high scoring, low scoring, turnovers, penalties. Weather could be involved. You play the game that's on the field, and the greats find a way to win regardless. It can win in a lot of different ways. I will say this. This team and this franchise for a couple of decades has had just massive difficulty overcoming any kind of adversity.
Right.
You hear about these next man up teams, and like the real next man up teams are the Baltimores, the Pittsburghs, the Green Bays. The Cowboys would lose one guy, season over. Season done. We're screwed now. I will say, I have been very, very impressed lately, these past 2 years, how they've gone without guys for periods of time, and we're still able to overcome it. That's the NFL, man. That's what I like to see. That's why I've always been very jealous of Baltimore, because Baltimore loses whoever. The Green Bay's the same way. They lose whoever, man. They just keep right on rolling. They show up and they're competitive. It does not matter. Cowboys lose one guy, and in the past it was, oh my God, season over. I think they might be taking a step in the direction of being truly a next man up team, and I think that they're starting to put together a real physical defense like that one out in San Francisco, man. You got the backers, you got Parsons, obviously. Donovan Wilson can lay the leather. I think that's kind of the goal. I think that's kind of what they're doing, man, and I'm in favor of it. Like I said, you can win. If you're holding your opponent to 17 points a game, you should be able to with a $40 million quarterback. You should be able to.
You should be able to.
Understatement, absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good stuff, JC. That's good stuff, man.
Those of us who've been following, what have we been saying? How long have we been pounding this same drum? You heard this man come here say the same thing that we've been saying for the longest.
Absolutely.
It's time, man. It's time to change the culture. It's time to change the culture.
Yeah, I love it.
No more of this Hollywood sissy boy shit. It's time to get tough and mean and physical. That's just straight up. Back to the old Cowboys that we know and remember. The true America's team will punch you in the mouth.
Yeah.
You didn't even worry about people being injured back in the day. It just didn't matter.
Yeah.
They always won.
Right.
I was spoiled as a Cowboy fan. The first 20 years of my fandom, this team went to 10 conference title games.
Mm-hmm.
Won 4 of them. Okay? So literally half the time, the road to the Super Bowl went through Dallas. Mm-hmm. That wasn't hype. It was real. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, the last 20 years, 25 years, not as much. You know, it's like the football gods, man. I don't know what we did, but you think they would have backed into a conference title game?
What happened is the franchise laid in the bed with Jerry Jones and caught a venereal disease. That's what we've been dealing with the past 25 years. That's the problem.
Damn,
we got the 3 Super Bowls, but then the claps and the bumps and stuff started appearing afterwards. It felt good at the time. You had a good time at that moment, but you didn't know you were infecting yourself with a venereal disease called the Jonesian disease.
Lord have mercy.
No. That's what happened to the Cowboys franchise. That
entire stuff right here, y'all.
I love that comment that that injury basically has been altering our season for the longest, man. For the longest, one guy down, throw it away. You can't do it no more.
Mm-hmm.
And good teams, they find a way to still do it because their program their system is so solid. And I think that's our biggest thing, that we're so name driven. Now we've gone away from it a little bit by drafting better, but generally we lean hard on these name guys, and it's been leading to us, all in or nothing, all in or bust rather. And I never thought of it that way. I thought that was a great addition to that, JC.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
But the tie-in with the Cliff was cool about what JC and both Rich just laid down on that point in terms of why that success has not been what it was in the 20 years that JC referenced, because Lord knows I was around for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tie in there. So Cliff, we've talked about it in jogging, same thing with you, Rich. I don't think it's coincidence that after Jimmy Johnson was summarily pushed out the door, because we all know that to be the case. So there's your football guy right there. There's your culture defining guy right there. This team had that defining culture, Rich, that you talked about since basically week 1. So we knew what that culture was. Mm-hmm. That guy went out the door. Then you had Jerry Jones, who lusted after being known as a football guy, but in his glitz and glam and his enthusiasm to be glitzy and to be sexy and sizzle without steak and all those things, you hire Dave Campo, you hire Chan Gaylor, you do those things. There's no real defining direction to the team because you're the football guy. That's not a football guy, right? So who's and then we had a brief redirect with Bill Parcells, right? But then Parcells like, I'm out because of the whole TO thing. So you're back to Jerry Jones thing. I don't think it's a coincidence to tie into what both of those gentlemen were talking about. I think it's a beautiful point. Is that now we're starting to see some semblance of culture definition. We're starting to see some semblance of an identity. And I don't think it's a coincidence when you go to Jerry pulling back from the room, and we have subjective evidence that happened because of the Travis Frederick drafting versus the Travis Frederick draft and, of course, Zach Martin instead of Johnny Manziel. Mm-hmm. That's when you knew Jerry Jones was no longer running the room. That's when you knew. That's to me, that's the line in the sand when this thing, to JC's point, started to change. Will McClay started running the draft room, and because he runs personnel development, scouting, all that things. And so, to your point, Cliff, now this stuff's starting to look better. Now you're starting to see guys that are drafted mid-round, the Dorrance Armstrongs, all these mid-late round guys, UFAs. I mean, look at Noah Brown. Noah Brown was what, 6th, 7th round pick. He's an integral part of this thing now, right? Seth Wilson, when we left last year, he was a 5th round pick. I mean, all these guys are starting to shape. But since Jerry pulled back from the room, I guess it was about 8 years ago, this thing is starting to take shape. And hopefully, just hopefully, hopefully we can back into.
I'm laughing at Britt's comment.
Fall into a conference game and maybe get back to a damn Super Bowl.
The Martin thing kind of set that off. The Zach Martin thing kind of set that whole thing off.
Yes, sir.
We started realizing that, okay, they're starting to get some good draft picks, and the draft picks are starting to make sense. I hate to keep referencing Baltimore, but
good reference.
John Harbaugh was the special teams coach with the Eagles. And, of course, the script got flipped on the Cowboy-Eagle rivalry for the longest time. The Cowboys just owned them. And then along came the early 2000s, and the Eagles just absolutely owned them. And Harbaugh talked about his experience with the Eagles, with their personnel guy. I forget the guy's name, but with their personnel guy, and then how he worked with Ozzie Newsome in Baltimore. He said, man, the Cowboys, when they draft, they dig their heels in and swing for the fences. He said, in Baltimore and Philadelphia, we just try to put the ball in play and hit line drive shots, make good, solid draft picks throughout the draft, and don't swing for the fences every time.
Right.
And you build yourself a good football team that way. Again, man, it's all about players. It's all about players. Now, Jerry, he is a football guy. He won a national title on a D1 team, okay, as a player. So he is a football guy. But that does not mean that he can pop in and be on a level with, as Jimmy said, guys that grind on this stuff 16 hours a day.
Right.
You can't pop in at the last minute. You know, like the female lions go get the food, and then Big Boy comes and eats. Well, he walks up and he's going to be the guy to eat first. Right? Oh, yeah, nice job. Appreciate y'all doing that. Now, if y'all step aside, I'm going to go ahead and eat. Right? And I think that's what you were talking about in terms of the lack of direction. Players have always felt like they could just go around the head coach.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And go directly to Jerry. And Jerry talks too much.
Right.
He's on the radio too much talking about these, and talking about these personnel decisions and about the stuff that they're going to do. And it's like, man.
No other franchise.
No direction. I think that's what you said. No direction. Thank God for Will McClay is all I can say.
Right.
Thank God for Will McClay, man. Whatever they're paying him, man, double it.
Who, ironically enough, was the offensive GM job by the Detroit Lions.
Right. Jerry's problem is that he gets involved with feelings over football. That's why you hire an idiot like Barry Switzer to be the goddamn head coach instead of going to get another football guy to replace Coach Jimmy. And yeah, they won a Super Bowl in spite of, but we were horrible afterwards because those players got together and say, okay, you know what? We know what to do. We know what Coach Jimmy told us to do, and they executed and won. But when it came to the point to where they started to have you had the injury to Michael Irvin, you had Troy Aikman go down, and you had the coach, and that line wasn't the same, which we're going to talk about that in a little bit also. You had to actually coach. Barry Switzer failed miserably in the NFL, and he was done. And nobody even thought about looking at him to join their organization, not even as a coordinator. He was never seen or heard from in the NFL again.
Correct.
So that's his problem is that, you know, his personal interactions and his feelings about individuals supersedes the football side. You got to put that shit aside. This is a business. Yeah, I like you. Yeah, we're cool. Whatever, but you either can or can't do the job. Simple as that. And Jerry,
what I love about Mike Tomlin,
let football people do their job.
Yep. What I love about Mike Tomlin, the job he's done in Pittsburgh, and like, you know, to JC's point and even yours, but the level of consistency, because you know they just flat out don't accept the excuse. It's like, I mean, they'll plug a guy in, and the organization is behind that guy, you know, doing what he does. And there's a hierarchy, there's a system in place, and they don't deviate from that system. So their sustained success is not an accident.
Right.
So, you know, you respect what the Harbaughs and the Ozzie Newsomes have done in Baltimore. You respect what the Rooneys and Mike Tomlin. I mean, man, I'm in my mid-50s. The Pittsburgh Steelers have had 3 coaches in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. That's consistency for your ass.
Chuck Noll, In my lifetime. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. That's it. I'll be 56 in 2 weeks.
Right.
And
when was the last time you saw any member of the Rooney
almost
family
50 years
talking about team on a broadcast? Or when was the last time you saw them, talking about day-to-day game operations at the ownership level with the Rooney family? We don't even know what their voice sounds like.
Yeah.
Correct.
When we see the Rooney family, when it's time to hoist the damn Super Bowl trophy at the end of the game.
Seen but not heard.
Coach, for doing a great job. Thank you, GM. Thank you.
That's when the Lions should come meet when you hoist that
That's
trophy.
all you're gonna get out of them.
Seen but not heard, man.
Yeah.
I want y'all to answer this question. I want to hear some of these picks. I know we're cooking as a panel, and it's hard with us 4 people. And so James Dandridge states, would you prefer Quinn, who the players love, or Peyton? So obviously we talking about the exodus of your boy McCarthy.
Oh man, you said you dropping the fire today.
Yeah.
Personally, because I'm a football guy and I know I understand, the impact of having that locker room buy-in. These dudes are bought into Quinn.
Yes.
They will, man, they will go out and fight an army for that man right now.
Yeah.
He has them bought in lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah.
So my only question about Quinn is his ability to manage the offensive side of the game, and that's where he came up short in Atlanta. So if we're able to find a complimentary offensive coordinator, and I really don't know if the Beeve can be trusted on his own without some guidance to be that guy, but if we were to get like an offensive guru to go with Quinn, I'd take Quinn all day. Sean Payton, on the other hand, I mean, his resume speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And he's actually more of an offensive-minded guy, and he's always had that complimentary defensive-minded guy to go with him. The Greg Williams and, those kind of guys, and they built that defense in New Orleans and then, rode it all the way to the Super Bowl. But personally, I know that the affiliates, the Cowboys affiliates wouldn't like it, but I would go with Quinn.
Who are these affiliates you speak about, Rich?
Oh yeah. So these affiliates, just to kind of bring you in, JC. Affiliates are the annoying ass wannabe Cowboy fans that we all know, and this is why the Cowboys get
win the Super Bowl every year.
We're gonna win the Super Bowl. This is our year. They run out and get the fresh jersey and the fade with the matching Jordans, and they just can't shut up and talk realistically about Cowboys football. Cowboys affiliates hate this show because we keep it real. We'll never do the fanboy crap because we're not a bunch of marks. We're gonna criticize this team when they do wrong. We're gonna praise them when they do right. We're gonna always keep it on the button. So that's just a short.
I'm gonna hop on that one real quick. So I'm with you, Rich, man. I'm a big thing with like establishing culture, about loyalty, about bringing a guy in who, and we talked about this all the time on this channel, that he got rid of 2 guys, Everson Griffin and Dontarie Poe, that were guys, but they didn't buy into his system. So guess what? Hit the bricks. And at the time, as a fan base as a collective, we was like, why you get rid of these dudes? These dudes can play. Bringing in who for them? So it's something to be said about a guy that can have quote unquote lesser guys buy in and get better results. So with that being said, I'm gonna go with Sean Payton.
I think you want a guy, man, that has his hands all over everything.
I've gotten to know Cliff well enough to know that. I said, man, he go to that. Watch this redirect. He gonna get
hard up turn.
He gonna get his card, but he's definitely going with Sean Payton.
Sean Payton, please.
I love the question. Payton. James, I personally, and Rich, I think your point is certainly well taken. There's much to be said. I love what Dan Quinn has built from a continuity, camaraderie, buy-in standpoint in his locker room. I think he's full credit. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and put my head on backwards like he does. As an homage to my man Dan Quinn. That said, I too would go with Sean Payton, and I'll say this. The reason I would lean towards Sean Payton is because Sean Payton has demonstrated that he knows how to build the staff to get what he wants, to get that ultimate deal. He's proven that part of it. He is that Jimmy-like guy that can identify the coaches to implement what he wants. Mm-hmm. We know what he's good, where his deal is offensively, but he's the goods improving and building the staff, defensively, special teams, to get where you want to go. And I think that personally, Sean Payton could take Dak Prescott to levels that I don't think Dak Prescott is dreamed about and believes in himself yet.
That's a good point.
I think he's the one guy that could come in, and where Dak Prescott at times looks really good, bordering on elite. I think he could take him that proverbial next level and get this team over the hump just because of the resume, and he's the good. So as much as I love Dan Quinn, I hat to the back, I got to go with Sean Payton on that one. That's a great question, though, James. Great question.
Payton's a red ass too. That's what I like. The real good coaches, man, are red asses. Jimmy, red ass. Parcells, red ass. Payton, red ass. Tomlin, red ass. You know, Harbaugh, red ass. You know, those guys are red asses, man. They're like, it eats them up. You know, I mean, they're working 100 hours a week. You know, they got health issues and stuff. You know, and I don't mean to make light of it, man, but like they care. The guy that's too cool for school. Listen, I love Barry Switzer, man, as a guy. He seems like a great guy. But he's constantly saying, okay, what really kind of should go unsaid. Well, you know, it's just a football game. You know, it really don't matter. We get that big picture. But the fact that, like I said, that you got Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, these cats, man, the Mike Tomlins of the world, man, these guys that just grind on it, man. They take it personally, you know. And I'm sorry, you know, them taking it personal and grinding on it like that, and, you know, even experiencing health problems and stress and all that stuff, that's very comforting to me as a fan when they care like that.
It really is, though. I want you to come out with that.
I know they care, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so we're gonna take a left turn on this so we can get to this week's matchup because we are running low on time. So let's talk about the matchup against the Detroit Lions, man. So what are the expectations for this matchup for our boys, man? Do we see this as being Dak's comeback game? Do we see this as a trap game? Because Dak may not be confident. I saw someone in the comments allude to that a little earlier. So we'll do a round robin, gentlemen, and you tell me, what are we thinking? What are the insights for this game, week 7 against the Detroit Lions? And whoever wants to step up, you can step up.
Oh, well, I think this is the perfect comeback game for that because you have a Detroit Lions defense that is absolutely terrible. Any of the men that you see on this show right now could have 100 yards rushing or 100 yards receiving against that defense. They are atrocious. They are bad. And I feel bad for you know, the Lions fans. You know, they've gone through so much hell with that team. They have a good coach in place now who I think if they're smart, they would give them another chance. But this team is, you know, on the defense side of the ball, they're terrible. They're terrible. I would expect a big game from Dak. Now, of course, offensively speaking, they have a very good offense. They got a quarterback who can get the ball downfield. They can run the football now. They got a running back who can get the job done. I just think that their defense is just so inept. The way that they win games is they have to win in a shootout. And I don't think there's a chance in hell that they are going to be able to, you know, light the scoreboard up against our defense. So this is a good comeback game, a good game to get settled in and get your rhythm back. This is in boxing terms, this is sort of a tune-up fight. Of course, you still have to respect the guy that you're in the ring sparring with, but I don't see why they shouldn't, you know, walk away pretty easily today.
It's the Lions have had issues similar to the Cowboys, but in a different way. If you go back in time, man, in the 50s, this was the best team in the 50s. Okay, the Lions. A couple NFL championships. They had Bobby Lane. They had Joe Schmidt. A lot of great players on that thing. Well, the Ford family said, you know, Henry is kind of a goof. All right, let's keep him away from the factory. Let's give him the football team. And right about that time, you know, they have not had really very much success at all since then. They've had bad breaks along the way, man. But I mean, I think we all remember the Matt Millen thing. This guy just kept coming back year after year after year. And I respect Matt Miller, but I got sick of him saying, well, I'm not used to this losing. I'm not used to this losing. Dude, you don't play anymore, man. We get it you won as a player. This is something different now. Yeah. Like with the Jerry thing, man, look, if you're not going to get in there and grind, man, and make good decisions, I mean, that 1 year, man, they could have taken DeMarcus Ware, man. They drafted another receiver. Mm-hmm. It's again, their issues are very similar. And that poor woman, Henry Clay's widow, she's trying to pick the pieces up now because he literally ran that franchise into the ground. I mean, the parallels are remarkable. Like I said, they had a couple championships in the 50s, then 60 years of nothing. You know what I mean? And we had our championships as Cowboy fans, and then it's been 25 years of nothing. Mm-hmm. So there's some odd parallels. I mean, you never heard from Henry very much, but I tell you what, man, I think, like what was stated earlier by, y'all on the show, leadership, man. Mm-hmm. What did Big Julius say to Bertier and Remember the Titans? Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. That's where it all starts, man. If you want all that credit, okay, if you want all that credit, well, then you are the man that we're going to point the finger at when it goes south. Period. So here you go, man. Here's your credit, man. All right. Well, now guess what? The microscope has man, my hair is just tripping. I need some gel. The microscope has really, I know, man, right? Like, what is this? The microscope has really been magnified on him, man. And I think it's one of those things, man, where I guess as Cowboy fans, we're supposed to root for the franchise to make money. Oh, yeah, he makes so much money. You see Jimmy Johnson will give him compliments, but you got to read into those compliments. He's always talking about how much money Jerry has made for the franchise. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jerry's done so great with this franchise, built a stadium, made all this money. Mm-hmm. If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. That's all Jimmy. That's if you ever hear him talk about Jerry now, those are the only compliments he gives him.
And that's what the affiliates ride with.
There's a reason for that. He's saying, yeah, man, football-wise, man, y'all haven't done anything since I left. But, boy, I tell you what, you sure make a lot of money. Yep. Y'all on top of that Forbes list every year. It's you and the Lakers and Manchester United, man. Enjoy that. I guess that's what we're supposed to root for as fans.
I'm out. I like the losses. And today, I need the Cowboys to stomp the shit out of the Detroit Lions. Yep. I need Dak Prescott to play well. To the earlier point made, to establish a rhythm. I love the tune-up fight analogy, Rich. I think that's dead on. But let's keep that in a recent deal. Dak needs to play well for Dak because Dak did not play well in the opener. Nope. There was a lot of expectation coming to that, and much of what went wrong before that thumb injury was Dak Prescott.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, it was Dak Prescott. So I need Dak to be good across the board in terms of his decision making, in terms of how he executes. I need this defense. I saw a comment that Brent made, and I think Brent's right. Detroit can run the ball, and if Dallas doesn't,
that's why I'm saying I'm concerned about their ability to
run. This is one of those games where we've seen these classic matchups before, where Dallas should win the game. It's the whole on paper thing, but we don't play the game on paper. If they allow Detroit to hang around and use that run game late, where it's a close game and things get more interesting than they should, then it could be a problem. But if Dallas goes out and plays to their level, if they go out and take care of business at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, then Dallas should win the game pretty handily. And if QB1 plays to his capabilities, when called upon to put the ball in the air, then again, Dallas should do their thing. But I think it's the same old formula we've been preaching all season. Ground and pound, get after the quarterback, stop the run, make them punt. And the ideal formula for Dallas today to take a team like Detroit out of it is to get up 17-0, to get up 14-3. Take that run game out of it where they have to put the ball in the air. That plays into Dallas' strength because Detroit's pass protection is not good. I went back and looked at about 4 games earlier. It's their pass pro is garbage. So how do you play into that? Get up on them early. Matter of fact, some sustained drives. start to wear them down. JC's point early, body shots. Pound them early. Get that run game going, play action off of it, get in the end zone. I don't want to see a lot of Brett Maher today. I want to see touchdowns. I need him to get the ball in the end zone. I don't want the drives to stall at the 11, and we're kicking field goals, and we're looking at a 9-3 game going into halftime. I need them to jump out on them early so that they have to play catch up, play to Dallas' strength with that pass rush, and then Dallas should handle them pretty easily. That's what a Cowboy victory should look like for me today. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be pissed.
And I want to see the correction of the penalties that took place last week also. That to your point earlier, JC, I want to see the preparation. You go back to last week and correct the mistakes that you made this week. So this is a cleanup week also. Just clean those penalties up.
Because we kind of gave him kudos for not being as sloppy in a couple of weeks prior to the Philly game. But you know what? When good teams are giving you the business in their barn, then you tend to do things, when you make those mistakes. So that they collectively, to your point, Rich, they need to get right mentally and clean some things up, because that's the difference between winning and losing. Mike, bro.
Yeah, just punch him in the mouth early. Do what we do, man. Get that run game established and go over the top with Dak to Gallup. He loves to throw to Gallup, so that's fine. Get that going. Maybe him and CD get some chemistry later. He's going to Gallup. Just be early and often, be intentional, be abrupt. I think our defense is going to bounce back against y'all already stated the weak O-line. I don't trust Jared Goff. I'm not worried about this game. I'm not saying overlook him now. Now you overlook no team. Not saying that, but I don't see a lot of resistance if we just play our game. I mean, we've been doing that pretty consistently to the bottom fell out last week. So also I want to say, guys, you make sure you follow our official page, Straight No Chase, the Cowboys podcast. We're going to start doing them on there when I get the email, man. I don't know. YouTube holler at me because I don't know how to get this account. But in the meantime, y'all subscribe to the channel. The link is in the thing. So, yeah, like I say, I don't see a lot of challenges going forward if we play our game. Now, if we go and letting people in like we do all the time with lapses, with penalties, right? Detroit can fight their way in a scrappy game. I believe week one they had a scrappy win. I forget who they they had a scrappy win. So they're capable of if you let them in the game and like you say, don't let bad teams stick around.
Well, they almost beat the Eagles too. It was a shootout.
They did.
Well, I respect them. Don't get it twisted. I get respected, but if we're playing our game, this shouldn't be a game we're worried about, in my opinion. So just going forward, I just see again kind of mirroring what you guys said. You guys said already. So I'm not going to be a mockingbird, well, a recorder rather, saying the same thing. But this is a highly winnable game, and just we play our game, man. We don't have to worry about we don't have to worry about making magic. Let me put it that way. And I don't want Dak to come back making magic. I want him to come back kind of taking a page out of Cooper Rush's thing, like, hey, dude, we don't need you throwing for 400 yards, man. We got a pretty solid formula. Let's stick to that.
Exactly.
Don't go out there making magic. So that's what I hope going forward for week 7 going down. So since we in the end of the show, guys, I want to hear game predictions. Since you're the guest, JC, you can go first, my friend.
Well, typically when and what you guys were talking about too, and I know that Big Rich can relate to this. There's always so much emphasis in talking about his quarterback position, but boy, I tell you what, man, offensive line has got to be right there. If you look at a lot of the Lions' problems, they just have not had any good offensive linemen.
Nope.
And drafting the big kid from out of Oregon, I think, is a step in the right direction. Okay. And typically, when you have two teams in a matchup where one has a really good offense and a suspect defense, and the other one has a pretty good offense and a really good defense, the team with the good defense usually waxes them. That's typically what happens. But now remember, these are the Cowboys. What has also gone hand in hand with the futility and the lack of postseason success is all of the extra drama surrounding them, and nobody, and I mean nobody, and over these past couple of decades has flopped like the Cowboys in games that they are clearly better. And you don't see good teams get upset or smoked or beaten by teams that they're supposed to beat. Right. Like Parcells would say, man, don't do it to yourself. Right. Play this game straight. You're the better team. You have the better team. I think that There may be a little bit of a slow start today for the boys, with Prescott coming back. But I'm thinking somewhere in the area of 28-17. I think that there's a little bit of nervousness. They go into halftime and it's, maybe 13-10, something like that. And it's the Lions are, charged up because, hey, make no mistake about it, man. This is why I hate when people say, well, they should, a team should just lose the rest of the season and get a good draft pick. Anybody that says that doesn't understand football. They have played the game, the preparation that goes into it, man. These guys out here are trying to win. I don't care if you're 0-15 and it's game 16. You're trying to win. And Detroit's going to be fired up, Dan Campbell, Granbury guy, just outside of Fort Worth, so it's a little bit of a homecoming for him. And again, man, they're pros over there. But when you have a defense that bad, okay, let's put it in perspective. Mm-hmm. We all remember the 2013 Cowboys. Romo posted a 100 quarterback rating. And your football team is 8-8. That's impossible. You can't do that. Why is your football team 8-8? Well, they had the worst defensive season in the history of the franchise.
That's right.
So come out, jump on them. I like what y'all been saying about the run game. I agree, man. Dirty, grimy yards, play action. That's what we do. Let's be real deliberate and, play this thing straight up. You don't have to get fancy. You don't have to get cute. You have the better football team. Play it straight up. They're the ones that have to try the momentum changers, the trick plays, the onside kicks. Just come out and play straight football. Don't be afraid to punt, okay? Don't be afraid to punt. That's not a bad thing, all right? Your defense can make some plays. And I'm thinking somewhere in the area of 28-17, Cowboys after a little bit of a slow start.
Okay. Like it.
Fair. I love it.
All right. Anybody else want to step in as we land the plane?
Brief, bro.
Go ahead.
I'll be real brief. Dallas 31. Actually, Dallas 31, Detroit 20. They may keep it interesting there for a little bit, like JC was alluding to, Dak starting out, just kind of acclimate himself. I hope that's the way he starts out. I hope he's going to come out and with a 5-7 step drop and goes deep to Gallup. It's like, what are we doing? Don't do that. Just turn around and hand the ball off to Zeke or Pollard. Or look, I would really like for them to open up a nice little, flare, out in the flat to Zeke or Pollard or a nice little naked boot. Get him out on the move, doing what he does, just getting his legs.
Yeah,
and what I'm saying, just get it going. But 31-20, I expect the defense to eat the pressure that stick with what's been working. Let the big boys up front eat, pound them up front, let that run game work, play action off of it. Clip, I think you hit it. He's probably going to hit a shot or two to Gallup because that's his man. And just take care of your business. Hit him early. Stay straight up. 31-20 down.
I like it.
11 points, baby. Go put your money down. You heard it from the two geniuses. 11 points, man. Go get this money. Dallas by 11.
Dallas by 11.
That's two guys that said it. It's not a coincidence.
Really?
I'm going to go ahead and fire up the grill. I know I'm not supposed to be eating. I know I'm not supposed to be eating this on my plan. Which, by the way, those y'all who haven't, make sure you follow the NFL Alumni Wellness Challenge.
Indeed.
I am now proud to say that I am the all-time leader in pounds lost on the program now.
Nice, man. Nice,
so I just passed my good friend, former Arizona Cardinal, Phoenix Cardinal, David Blaha. I just passed him. So I was in Phoenix last week. I gave him a bunch of shit. I call him number 2.
There you go.
But since I can't have burgers on the program, I'm going to have one today.
Yeah.
40-10 Cowboys.
Woo!
My man with a burger.
40-10.
Whoa. Well, that's a 40 burger with mayonnaise, Rich.
Wait, 40 burger. Okay.
40 burger.
All right. Well, mine's kind of close to Darren's. I got 31-16. I think the Lions gonna kick a whole bunch of field goals and get a touchdown at some point. So I got 31-16. Your Dallas Cowboys getting that victory. So, gentlemen, great show.
If I can also give a shout out, Y'all follow our good friends Sports on Tap Detroit on Twitter. They were supposed to join us today, but they ran over on it. Let me tell you something, man. They are the straight no chaser of the Detroit Lions.
Sound like
they talk it, they tell it like it is. So y'all check out their content also. Good football talk.
Good stuff.
So much. Sports on Tap, Detroit. Man, you should have got Mitch on the show today, man, so you can talk about the
He's actually out there in Dallas. He's going to the game, so he's out there in the he's probably walking in the stadium right now if he's not in there already.
Well, wasting his money, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
he bleeds lion blue, man. So I mean,
he does.
He really does.
Yeah.
So and shout out to the guy who brought me to YouTube, man. Raw Truth Media, the building, man. Fellow Houstonite, young brother. He's about 30, man, but he brought me to YouTube, man. So I give all my YouTube success to him because he taught me the game. And so if you guys want to follow Sports on Tap Detroit, there's how to do that on Twitter. And all right, gentlemen, any parting shots we got? Any parting words before we go enjoy this football on this?
One other thing also. I did mention last week that Dick Butkus was going to be joining us. We're putting a placeholder on that because Dick Butkus will be joining us on Radio Row during the Super Bowl. So we're gonna take a rain check because it's gonna be bigger and better during the Super Bowl week, baby.
I love it.
So he's gonna be there, sitting right next to us with the gold jacket on, talking to us about the game. So I had a conversation with him Wednesday night. There's some things, some activities that's going on around that, which we'll let you in on later. So we'll be up close and personal with the great Dick Butkus. But Lemonhead Stinson, former defensive back, will be joining us next week.
Awesome.
Former Cowboys defensive back will be joining us next week to talk about the Bears matchup.
Let's go. Absolutely. All right, Darren, any parting words?
Man, that bring your A game. It's time for you to turn the corner. Micah, do what you've been doing. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys. Go Cowboys. JC, our special guest, man. What you got for us?
Man, if you face the win game and have trouble with your hair, it's time to go to the brim game. All right? Got to hook up the old gangster brim, man, because the job is done. Hey,
Yeah.
for the love of God, Cowboys, please, can you follow the lead of a Mike Tomlin, of a Baltimore, and can you just keep it about football, man? Can we please get rid of all the extra and just show up and play ball? And again, it's the NFL. You got to get this one and bank it before you go on to that next one, man. So just come out, man, and put your foot on these boys' throats today and don't leave any doubt.
There you go.
And then it's on to next week, man. 24-hour rule, baby. Win it, bank it, on to the next, man.
You're in charge of the locker room speech moving forward.
No doubt.
No, seriously.
No
Seriously.
doubt.
Seriously.
Good stuff, baby.
Love it, man. Hey, JC, thank you so much for coming to join us today.
Absolutely, man. Love
Appreciate
it.
you, brother.
Hey, man, I had a blast. Thank you guys so much for having
We're
me, man.
definitely going to have you back on,
Great
man.
show
We're
that you
definitely
guys
gonna
had.
have you back on.
Absolutely,
Appreciate that,
man.
JC.
It's terrific, man. We got to talk off air, Richard.
Absolutely.
Maybe this week, all right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. All right, guys, another episode of Straight No Chaser. Guys, you know what time it is. Where you at? Where you at? Straight No Chaser.
Room temperature, no cut, no
There
ice.
you go.
Yeah,
Room temp, man. No ice, man.
What do you got there?
Brown liquor.
I love it, man. I love it.
Thank y'all so much, man, for tuning in. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure y'all subscribe to our official page, Straight No Chaser Podcast, which is going to be right here. Make sure you subscribe. The link is in the chat as well. Thank y'all for being so faithful, man. Episode 7, Season 2 is in the books. Till next time, we out, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Oh, we out.